Stuff that gets written about me, like 90% of it is false. My thing is I don't want people to be fickle and question stuff about me that, in my opinion, they should already know. The problem is when people start to believe them.
Marcus Rashford has always been more than just a football player. From the moment he stepped onto the pitch as a teenager, he's carried the weight of expectation, not only as a promising talent, but as a symbol of something greater: pride, perseverance, and solidarity. But for others, he's always been a convenient target, a player whose drop in form, questionable decisions, and high profile have made him easy to blame. The narrative around him has long shifted from prodigy to problem, from national hero to media scapegoat. But after nearly a decade in the spotlight of Europe's most dysfunctional club, that narrative might just be taking a sharp turn. Rashford's story remains one of the most dramatic arcs in recent Premier League history. His rise through Manchester United's academy, from his early days in Wythenshawe to scoring twice on his senior debut in a European match he wasn't even supposed to start, his rise to stardom has always felt like something pulled from a script. 4 goals in his first 2 appearances, including a brace against Arsenal, were enough to turn him into an overnight sensation.
I don't believe it. It's truly astonishing.
By 18, he was no longer just a promising prospect. He was expected to lead the line for a club still searching for stability in the post-Ferguson era. But the fairy tale start quickly gave way to something more familiar at Old Trafford: instability, pressure, and the constant churn of expectations. What followed was a blur: new managers, new systems, and a variety of physical problems. In 2019-2020, Marcus would go on to score an impressive 22 goals before suffering a double stress fracture in his back that would sideline him for the rest of the season. By the summer of 2021, Rashford was still seen as one of England's most important players, not just for his contributions on the pitch, but for what he stood for off it. His campaign against child food poverty had made headlines and earned widespread praise, but the signs of wear were clear. Years of non-stop football and the burden of carrying a struggling club had begun to take a toll. And then, in England's first European Championship final in 55 years, came the moment that changed everything.
Marcus Rashford for England. And he's hit the post.
In the hours that followed, he, along with Jadon Sancho and Bukayo Saka, became the target of racist abuse online, and a mural in his hometown was defaced. The support was swift, but the damage had been done. The 2021-2022 season marked a clear downturn. Rashford returned late after shoulder surgery, looked out of rhythm, and never fully settled under interim manager Ralf Rangnick. He finished the season with just 5 goals, and for the first time since his debut, his place in the team felt uncertain. The following year brought a brief revival. Under Erik ten Hag, Rashford looked sharper and more confident. He ended the season with a whopping 30 goals in all competitions, the most prolific year of his career. But the momentum didn't last. The following season, he would go on to score just 8 goals across all competitions. He struggled to impact games, often drifting through matches without asserting himself. His finishing, once a strength, became extremely inconsistent, leading him to underperform his expected goal rate by the worst margin of any United forward. Off the ball, his work rate declined, and fans began to notice. Left out of England's Euro 2024 squad, questions about his focus and professionalism intensified. A missed training session following a night out in Belfast led to a club fine, and reports of poor discipline and slipping standards only added to the scrutiny. The 2024-2025 season brought more of the same. Rashford began the campaign on the fringes, in and out of the starting 11, ineffective when called upon, and visibly low on confidence. With United spending heavily in the summer, the pressure around him only grew. Once again, the club was completely unraveling, but this time Rashford wasn't just caught in the chaos. He had become one of its most visible reflections. By January 2025, something had to give. Out of form and out of favor, he left on loan to Aston Villa. There were no grand expectations, and in that quieter setting, something started to return. He scored 7 goals, added 3 assists, and finally looked somewhat like himself again. But just when things were looking better, another hamstring strain would force him to miss the final stretch of the season, and with it, any chance to return to his best level. Despite the disappointing finish, the loan spell at Villa had still served a purpose, a chance for Marcus to recalibrate and step away from the toxic environment that had emerged in his boyhood club. He returned to Manchester in the summer, but the message was clear: he was no longer part of Ruben Amorim's plans. And Rashford, he was looking at what might be the final chance at reviving his career. Barcelona had been watching Rashford for a while, and after failing to land Nico Williams or Luis Diaz, they saw a clear opportunity. A short-term deal, low financial risk, and a player still capable of brilliance, if given the right conditions. As for Marcus, the move made perfect sense. A new league, a different kind of pressure, and a team finally built on structure. Under Hansi Flick, Barca have re-established themselves among Europe's elite. Last season they pressed high, defended with discipline, and executed one of the most effective offside traps in the game. They scored freely and played with verticality. It's a system that's specifically designed to reward players who can attack space, and that's exactly where Rashford fits in. Barcelona have long been built around agile and technically gifted players, the kind who've come through La Masia, mastering a style based on short passing and intricate combinations. That philosophy has produced incredible success, but it also means their attack can sometimes feel predictable. Rashford, with his explosive pace, vertical runs, and willingness to go straight at defenders, offers a different profile entirely. With Lewandowski now 37, Rashford's versatile ability to play wide or central gives Barcelona much needed flexibility when it comes to mixing and matching their forwards. But it's not as if excelling here will come easily. Flick's system demands effort, positioning, and discipline every single match. And those are qualities Rashford hasn't always delivered consistently. But in a team this sharp, that kind of accountability might be exactly what he needs. So far, the early signs have been encouraging. Rashford has featured in all 3 of Barcelona's preseason friendlies, twice on the left and once as a central striker. In that third match, he scored his first goal, a sharp finish in a 5-0 win over Daegu. But there's still one major issue that hangs over everything. Rashford hasn't yet been registered for La Liga. Like other arrivals, he's dependent on the club balancing his wage bill before the opener against Mallorca. It'll likely be resolved, but it's another reminder that nothing about this move is guaranteed. At 27, Rashford is no longer a rising star. He's a player looking to re-establish himself at the top level, and Barcelona might be his best shot at doing that. Whatever comes next will depend entirely on him. As always, thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It really helps us keep this channel growing so we can keep telling stories like this one. We'll catch you all in the next one.